Right now, live at 5, protests turn deadly as demonstrations carried into Thursday morning. Buildings burn and businesses are destroyed in Minneapolis. And as those wild images spread, a look at how to talk to your children about what's happening in the Twin Cities.
You're watching Live at 5 on Live Local CBS3.
This was the scene in Minneapolis today. Crews spent the day cleaning up after violent protests rocked a neighborhood there for the second night in a row.
This, however, was the most destructive night yet. Angry crowds looted stores, set fires to a number of businesses, and left a path of damage that stretched for miles.
It's all in response to this moment. In bystander video, a white Minneapolis police officer, Derek Chauvin, can be seen kneeling on the neck of George Floyd, an African-American man, for almost 8 minutes. All while Floyd yelled that he could not breathe. He eventually died. Chauvin and 3 other officers have been fired. Good evening, I'm Kristen Bakke.
And I'm Anthony Matt. Thanks for joining us. Today, Minneapolis's mayor and the police chief decried the violence in their city overnight.
This as major retailers like the Mall of America closed early today, bracing for more protests, and a Target in St. Paul was evacuated as a precaution.
One man was shot dead during Wednesday's protests. It's unclear who shot him. The Minneapolis Fire Department says crews also responded to around 30 fires last night and into this morning. Fire vehicles were hit with rocks and other projectiles, but no firefighters were hurt. With tears in his eyes this morning, Mayor Jacob Frey announced that there will be an all-out effort to restore peace and security in the coming days. That includes calling on Minnesota's National Guard to respond, which Governor Tim Walz just approved this afternoon. Frey called the protests the results of anger and sadness.
Anger and sadness that has been ingrained in our black community, not just because of 5 minutes of horror, but 400 years. If you're feeling that sadness and that anger, it's not only understandable, it's right.
Frey also authorized a unified command structure that allows Minneapolis's police chief to use resources and personnel from other jurisdictions in Minnesota.
Chief Arredondo said today that many who were a part of the violence last night seemed to be from outside of Minneapolis. He added he supports people's First Amendment rights, but he cannot condone this violence.
If they're looting those stores, if they're robbing people of essential needs and services for themselves, their families, and certainly in this pandemic, their loved ones, if they are setting buildings and structures on fire, which are harming the safety of our elderly and our youth, I cannot allow that as chief.
The chief acknowledged that most protests have been peaceful over the past several days.
Civil rights activist Al Sharpton was in Minneapolis today. He joined family and community members in appealing for justice in Floyd's death. Reverend Sharpton says he came to address the police.
The reason why you see the anger in Minneapolis is because this is not the first time. And this is not the first time you ignored the rights of people.
Civil rights leader and Minister Jesse Jackson also spoke in the Twin Cities today.
While Duluth Police Chief Mike Tuskin declined to comment on camera about the situation in Minneapolis, he did share some thoughts on his Facebook page. He wrote, after watching the video of Floyd's death, he was shocked, angry, hurt, and embarrassed. Tuskin says building relationships is what his community is all about, adding that creating safe neighborhoods is accomplished by engaging the community to help police, help them, and help each other. He finished by saying his department must always honor and care for you. Meanwhile, a Duluth police spokesperson says all officers have now been trained on how to use the department's new police protective equipment. The equipment, also known as riot gear, includes helmets with visors and elbow and chest pads. It's an update to the department's old gear. The purchase has stirred controversy in Duluth. Some felt the gear would militarize police. Police felt the $83,000 worth of gear would protect their officers and would only be used as a last resort. Duluth's Citizen Review Board drafted a protective gear policy and presented it to Chief Tuskin earlier this year. We have a link to that policy report on our website.
Situations like these can be tough for adults to process, but what about children?
CBS3's Leanne Valdez spoke to a therapist to learn more about how to discuss what's going on with your kids.
This is a time that is absolutely appropriate to talk to your kids about what's happening. Amber Wetzel, a counselor at Nystrom and Associates Mental Health Center, says the situation and outrage in Minneapolis and beyond can be confusing for children. But getting ahead of the game when it comes to talking about controversial topics with your children is key.
Educate them, to talk to them about some of these things before they hear it somewhere else, or maybe don't get all of the correct information from somewhere else.
Simply by finding language children understand, along with relating it to what is happening in the community.
So for little kids, for instance, they understand equality and fairness for the most part because they use it when they're talking about sharing toys.
Wetzel says children may even come to you with questions.
Kids are naturally very curious and they're kind of in everything, whether we want them to be or not.
But parents should make the first move when it comes to dissecting their children's feelings.
It's best for parents to get ahead of that and be proactive and open up that conversation with kids.
For some children, talking may not be their strong point. So Wetzel says finding other ways to express their feelings helps.
There are charts out there that show different facial expressions, and you can say, which one of these do you feel?
Creating a safe space can tie it all together.
Bringing that as something that you can talk about together so they're not sitting there holding on to these feelings and these thoughts and not having a safe place to process them.
If you'd like to learn about more ways to talk to your children, log on to our website, CBS3Duluth.com.
A fire did about $20,000 in damage to a Duluth home this afternoon. The fire broke out around 2:30 in the Fairmont neighborhood near the intersection of 64th Avenue West and Polk Street. Flames could be seen coming from the roof, and winds nearly spread the fire to a nearby home. No one was hurt, and the cause of the fire is still under investigation.
Sawyer County officials say there's still flooding near Hayward after a dam failed last night. Crews responded to the Mosquito Brook flowage near the town of Lenroot yesterday afternoon. The Sawyer County Sheriff says water is still sitting over Porky's Road, which is a dead end. 8 residents living in the area may be stuck there for a couple of days. Sawyer County officials believe the water will go down later this evening. The Hayward region saw nearly 3 inches of rain on Tuesday night.
Meanwhile, it was a warm yet breezy day out there, and it looks like many people took advantage and got some fresh air while visiting Wisconsin Point in Superior.
And we'll turn things over to Dave. Dave, nice couple stretch of days we have going here.
Yeah, after the wild weather of the other day that really soaked Wisconsin, things are settling down nicely, despite a couple of sprinkles this morning from a cool front that came through. That could happen again tonight into tomorrow, and then a dry spell settles in for the weekend, along with a cool down as well. Higher pressure is driving those cool fronts, and we can see that it's taking over the sky, bringing blue sky to most zones here with just a couple of innocuous little cumulus clouds popping up here and there. This is a live look at what's happening in the Hibbing-Chisholm area. And here's a look at the weather situation for the upper Midwest. There's the first cold front that's heading now through Wisconsin and in towards Michigan. And then the second one for tonight is up to the northwest, same path that the other one took. And the result will be a step down in temperatures. So taking a look now at the forecast here for our Friday, the day planner says it should be clear to partly cloudy all day long, except for slight shower chances. High temps, though, only 63 degrees. No more 83 like the other couple of days. When will they come back? They could, and I'll talk about it in a few more minutes.
All right, thanks, Dave. Still to come on Live at 5, A Fresh Perspective. A local organization on the range aims to lift people's spirits and health during the pandemic.
Plus, coming up tonight at 6, why Canal Park hotels say they're seeing a glimmer of hope now after a tough spring.
You're watching Live at 5 with Kristen Vaki, Anthony Matt, and weather with meteorologist Dave Anderson on Live Local CBS3.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my community and those I care about safe from threats. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting nationalguard.com.
Right now, millions of people and billions of devices are connected to the internet. Homes, businesses, hospitals, schools. The security and reliability of these connections are more important than ever. That's why at Mediacom, we've built a network to protect them. A network that sees threats, fixes problems before they occur, and keeps you going with 99.99% network reliability.
My 95.7 is the Northland's best variety all day. From Ed Sheeran and Maroon 5 to Lady Gaga and Bryan Adams. Always family and office friendly. My 95.7, your life, your music.
For the news that impacts you most, turn to live local CBS3.
Wake up with Austin and Jenna at 5 a.m.
Dude! You gonna pick that up? Because there's no poop fairy to do that for you. See? Take these. They're not just poop bags. They're pride bags. Because you're doing the right thing for your neighbors and for the health of the whole watershed. Gotta fly. There's a Chihuahua cranking one out in Leicester right now. There is no poop fairy.
We want to say thank you.
Thank you.
To the first responders. Thank you.
To the truck drivers.
And delivery people. Thank you. Thank you. To the doctors.
The nurses. And all the hospital workers.
The grocery store workers.
The janitors.
And sanitation workers.
Show them kindness, patience, and gratitude. They are the real heroes.
Thank you for all of your bravery and hard work.
Thank you all.
It's another beautiful sunny day across much of the region. Here's a live look at the Twin Ports from our CBS3 Spirit Mountain Cam. Dave Anderson will have a look at the full forecast and what you can expect this weekend coming up in just a few minutes.
But first, from fresh produce to more chances to get outside in Cloquet, we're taking you around the Northland, city by city. Free produce on the Iron Range went quick tonight. The Arrowhead Economic Opportunity Agency handed out fruits and vegetables to anyone hit hard by the pandemic in Hibbing and Virginia, but it was all gone in just about an hour. And in Solon Springs, Wisconsin will kick off the 2020 farmers market season tomorrow. Locals will be selling their produce, locally raised meat, and more. If you go, they ask you to practice social distancing and not touch any products unless you plan to buy them. In Cloquet, they're reopening its City Hall and Police Department to the public on Monday. Playgrounds, athletic parks, and the skate park are open, but Pinehurst Pond will stay closed. Cloquet's Spafford Park campgrounds will also welcome seasonal and monthly campers starting on Monday. If there's something going on in your neighborhood that you think we should know about, go ahead and send us an email, and it might be featured as we go around the Northland, city by city.
Still to come on Live at 5, a big helping hand to local nonprofits hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic. We'll tell you which organizations are getting some financial help to help you.
This live look comes from Cass Lake. It's a nice day there and just about everywhere. Slight chance for sprinkles tonight and then a great chance for a big cool down starting tomorrow. We'll talk about its duration coming up after our break.
Find your favorite CW shows on the Duluth CW, cable, satellite, over the air, and streaming on KDLH Duluth.
I don't know how we would have survived without Mediacom. We have 5 kids, and we have Mediacom for all of our internet and all of our cable services. So I'm stuck in my house, but at the same time, I'm connected to people all over the world. It's been fantastic.
Right now, we all feel like the world is in a standstill. The internet has played a huge role in allowing us to stay connected to our jobs and stay connected with the ones that we love. We couldn't do it without Mediacom.
At Super One Foods, you'll find more than just low prices and better choices. You'll find friendly faces like ours, working hard to save you money.
Super One has a tireless commitment to quality and freshness and a goal of delivering 5-star service to every customer to bring the absolute best value to your shopping experience. Check out these specials available at all Super One locations going on now.
So stop into the Super One Foods right in your neighborhood. Super One Foods, serving you with low prices and better choices.
Before using Olea, my hair color was less vibrant. I had to rescue it.
Olea, hair color powered by 60% oils, no ammonia.
The color is really rich, and it looks healthier than before I colored it. My hair is happy right now.
Olea by Garnier Naturally.
Classic
Classic Rock KQ is once again the Northland's #1 radio station. The KQ Morning Show, the most listened to radio program in the Northland. The KQ Train Wreck, the Northland's #1 afternoon show. Thank you for making us the Northland's #1 radio station. 95 KQDS.
Get your new John Deere mower from Duluth Lawn and Sport, the region's largest power sports dealer.
When severe weather hits, tune to CBS3.
Tonight at 10, we'll be out here in the storm.
For up-to-date coverage morning and night.
Stay away from here.
Live local weather coverage on CBS3 Duluth.
CBS3 Weather is brought to you by Kerry Toyota.
Now, the CBS3 Duluth WeatherMax forecast with meteorologist Dave Anderson.
And now a live look at the woods north of Grand Rapids. Beautiful conditions going on there, greener and greener every day thanks to recent rains and some warm temperatures. But those are going away, and so is the rain as well. For the weekend, it should be dry, pressure's going to be high, and temperatures will drop into the 60s here rather than the 80s like they've been for the past couple of days for towns away from the lake. But by midweek next week, we could be flirting with 80 once again. So summer fans, we're not done with it yet. No, we're really just beginning. Now let's begin our look at the weather by taking a look at the current conditions coming in from the airport in Duluth. And today is one more of those warmer days. 73 in Duluth is really a pretty toasty day. Relative humidity, though, is only 26%. So despite the rain of the other day, fire danger in Wisconsin is low right now, but it's getting back towards moderate to even high in Minnesota. We need more rain yet again. Probably won't get any till Monday. West wind right now is going 17 miles per hour. Air pressure is at 1,010 millibars. And current temperature in Watersmeet is 67, but 73 Ironwood, 77 Ashland, and 75 in Hayward. Upper 70s towards Superior, low 70s around Moose Lake and Barnum. We're looking at 70s up the North Shore, at least inland a little bit, only 50 in Grand Marais by the lake, 70 Ely, and then 59 to 66 for northern parts of Minnesota. That's that next cool front coming our way to take tomorrow's temperatures down from upper 70s probably to lower 60s for a lot of places. So Doppler map right now shows that first cold front that came last night and brought some showers to Duluth this morning is now sliding out of the UP and it's heading over towards mainland Michigan. In between, the sunnier sky that we're seeing right now. And then that next front, it's to the northwest, and it's probably going to come through tonight, just a slight shower chance, and then high and dry for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Next rain chance, that'll come around perhaps on Monday, and for Tuesday, mostly showers, maybe a couple of claps of thunder, and maybe a little bit of much-needed rain for northern Minnesota. What are we getting tonight in Minnesota? Well, low temperatures will be coming down because of that cool front, running about 43 to 49 degrees. It'll be partly cloudy with just a 20% chance for those sprinkles triggered by the passing front. Into Wisconsin and Michigan, that front may not get into your neck of the woods. Your low temps will go about 45 to 47 with a partly cloudy sky. And then for tomorrow in Wisconsin and Michigan, high temps will only go 60 to 65. Should be partly cloudy for Wisconsin, but it may be just a hair cloudier in the UP, and perhaps a little lake influence will help stir up a couple of sprinkles there. Only a 20% chance. Minnesota should be partly cloudy after that early morning sprinkle chance in the afternoon. The sunshine comes out in the afternoon after the morning sprinkle chance. High temps only 59 near International Falls, maybe 65 down by Moose Lake, and perhaps only 55 by Grand Marais. So, with the higher pressure coming in from Canada, we're looking at sunshine through Sunday, but temperatures only in the 60s during that period. Monday, Tuesday's that next rain chance coming around, and then Tuesday we get to 79 degrees here in the Twin Ports, meaning, of course, Tony, we just might strike across 80 degrees farther inland, if only for a day.
Yeah, what a nice stretch of days we have here. Looks like it's going to carry into the weekend. I can get used to all of this sunshine.
Yeah, and if we can keep that fire danger down, we can enjoy it without any guilt.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dave.
Douglas County plans to open county buildings starting Monday. Only one entrance to the courthouse and another to the government center will be open. Residents are still asked to handle as much of their issues over the phone if possible.
Grand Casino announced earlier today they'll be reopening up both of their Hinckley and Onamia locations starting Monday. Both locations closed back in March because of concerns with the COVID-19 pandemic. Officials say it's the first step in a multi-phased reopening plan. They also have a health, safety, and sanitation plan aimed at keeping the public safe. More than 60 local nonprofits are getting a share of $1 million in grant money after being hit by COVID-19.
And it's all thanks to help from 5 Northland funding organizations. That includes the Community Foundation, Head of the Lakes United Way, the Lloyd K. Johnson Foundation, Northland Foundation, and the Ordine Foundation. They raise the money through several COVID response funds. Those behind the effort say it's important to support local nonprofits now more than ever.
These grants came out, it's just super impressive. You guys realized early on that these funds were going to be needed and it needed to happen quickly.
Some of the nonprofits that benefited from the grants include Duluth St. Anne Senior Living Center, Two Harbors North Shore Horizons Domestic Violence Center, and the Arrowhead Economic Opportunity Agency. Now it's time to introduce you to today's adoptable pet. This is Knox. He's a 1.5-year-old German Shepherd Rottweiler mix weighing in at 70 pounds. The folks at Range Regional Animal Rescue say he's a bit cautious around some people, but he's getting better each and every day. Knox would do best in a very patient, forever home. If you're interested, give the Range Regional Animal Rescue a call at the number on your screen.
Still to come, Plan B. We take an inside look at NASA as they scramble to prepare for a second chance at history-making launch this weekend.
The 2020 Subaru Forester. The SUV for all you love. Standard symmetrical all-wheel drive plus 33 miles per gallon. Standard eyesight driver assist technology. A spacious and comfortable interior. The best SUV for all you do.
Get 0% APR financing on all new 2020 Subaru Forester models now through June 1st. Visit us online at millerhill.com.
Classic Rock KQ is once again the Northland's #1 radio station. The KQ Morning Show, the most listened to radio program in the Northland. The KQ Train Wreck, the Northland's #1 afternoon show. Thank you for making us the Northland's #1 radio station. 95 KQDS.
As we all navigate the challenges of the coronavirus outbreak, know that for more than 100 years, the Better Business Bureau has guided consumers and businesses from the Great Depression to the housing crash. We've connected consumers with businesses they can trust, and we've recognized businesses that are committed to uncompromising ethical standards. We're better together, and the BBB is here to help. Learn more at bbb.org. The Better Business Bureau, building trust in trying times.
The Glen Shee murders are the most well-known murder in Duluth, but that has nothing on this story.
CBS3's Anthony Matt brought you the Digging Deeper exclusive of a Duluth man's determination to uncover the truth behind one of the city's darkest mysteries. Now, we've been honored with a Regional Merle Award for hard news reporting. Award-winning journalism you can trust from live, local CBS3.
Crazy times we're living in right now. But one problem has grown so out of control.
Not that short.
Basically, my mom fried her hair off.
Oh my God.
We had to intervene.
It's a star-studded night.
Yes, paint it. I'm going to do Rebecca's Roots.
Wait, what?
Of sheer entertainment.
Watch my ear out.
Put the clipper down and step away from the machine.
This has been my most fun day in quarantine.
Haircut Night in America, Friday at 8, 7 Central on CBS.
During this COVID-19 crisis, everyone is experiencing raised stress levels. Business is disrupted and consumers are scared. The result can create tense situations. The Better Business Bureau encourages everyone to treat each other with grace, respect, and empathy. We need to work together. When life begins to normalize, people will remember how they were treated during this time. If businesses and consumers treat each other fairly, these relationships will last far beyond this crisis.
Major ruling by the state's high court. We'll tell you why some
They had sales. They also say that people are ready to get out and shop.
Hope for an old mining project.
With the legislative session ending last
The Miller Hill Mall in Duluth is open once again.
They gave us 3 hours to shut down and they gave us 10 seconds to open.
Local reaction after 650 people were laid off.
lawmakers in Minnesota can't
To stay up to date with the news and weather that impacts you and your community, continue watching live local CBS3. Watch Jeopardy at 4:30, followed by CBS3 Live at 5 on live local CBS3.
President Donald Trump is escalating his war on social media companies. He signed an executive order challenging the liability protections that have served as a bedrock for unfettered speech on the internet. Still, the move appears to be more about politics after Twitter applied fact checks to 2 of his tweets. Legal experts have expressed doubts Trump can do much with this executive order by himself without an act of Congress, and the order is certain to face legal challenges.
After a last-minute scrub, NASA says to mark our calendars for Saturday afternoon.
At 2:22 Central Time, 2 American astronauts will make another launch attempt to the International Space Station. And as Skylar Henry reports from the Kennedy Space Center, they're hoping to make history.
Hours after Wednesday's flight was scrubbed, NASA explained why these ominous clouds over the launch pad posed too much of a risk.
We had just simply too much electricity in the atmosphere. There wasn't really a lightning storm or anything like that, but there was a concern that if we did launch, it could actually trigger lightning.
Astronauts Doug Hurley and Bob Bankin are now preparing for round 2. They were already on board the Crew Dragon spacecraft, set to lift off on a Falcon 9 rocket, when they got word of the scrub. There were less than 17 minutes on the countdown clock.
I got 100. It was a good effort by the teams, and we understand, and we'll meet you there.
The astronauts will say goodbye to their families again on Saturday and be back in their seats for another attempt. If this is a go, it'll be the first time in history a private company sends NASA astronauts into orbit. Ever since the last shuttle mission in 2011, Americans have had to ride Russian rockets to the International Space Station. Using Elon Musk's SpaceX for transportation will finally end the U.S. drought. Crowds had gathered to watch the launch, some of them tossing social distancing to the wind, all of them hoping to see history made.
Even though the launch didn't happen, it was nice kind of just seeing people just being good to each other and all just getting behind a central cause.
President Trump was among the disappointed spectators, but says he'll be back in Florida on Saturday for the second attempt.
And once they do lift off, the astronauts will arrive at the space station in about 24 hours. NASA has not yet determined how long they will stay.
Coming up on the CBS Evening News, protests turned violent in Minnesota after the death of George Floyd. 30 buildings set ablaze with dozens more looted. We're there tonight as parts of Minneapolis are still smoldering. Plus, could a shortage of glass vials delay a coronavirus vaccine? The major drug company raising concerns tonight. And we end with pomp under the circumstances, a roundup of graduation speeches delivered during the pandemic. That's all coming up tonight on the CBS Evening News.
For the news that impacts you most, turn to live local CBS3.
Wake up with Austin and Jenna at 5 a.m.
Coming up tonight, how COVID-19 has impacted hotel sales.
The sun quotient is going up, but by tomorrow the temperature quotient will go down. We'll talk about for how long.
Tonight at 6 on CBS3. Watch Jeopardy at 4:30, followed by CBS3 Live at 5 on Live Local CBS3.
They're live, they're local. Watch the CBS3 News with Kristen Vaki and Anthony Matt tonight at 6, right after the CBS Evening News at 5:30.
For breaking stories that impact the Northland most, turn to CBS3. Watch Anthony Matt weekdays at 6 and 10 p.m. on Live Local CBS3 Duluth.
Find your favorite CW shows on the Duluth CW, cable, satellite, over-the-air, and streaming on KDLH Duluth.
Our Northland may not have the longest severe weather season, but it does come around every now and then. I'm hoping folks will keep an eye to the sky and on Channel 3 here this summer. If severe weather threatens, Austin Haskins, Caitlin Moffat, and I will keep our eyes glued to the radar. We'll break in if you need to hear about the latest storm developments. We'll work together to keep our region safe.
Watch Dave, Caitlin, and Austin for local weather you can trust on CBS 3.
I'm Dr. Carolyn Phelps, licensed psychologist. In the wake of this pandemic, many of us are feeling over-challenged and overwhelmed. If you or someone you care about is struggling with anxiety, depression, or any other mental health problem, please know this: getting help matters. Mental health care is essential care, and it's still available. Simply contact a local mental health care provider yourself or ask someone you trust whom they'd recommend. Now more than ever, reach out for help.
Find your favorite CW shows on the Duluth CW, cable, satellite, over-the-air, and streaming on KDLH Duluth.
Well, it is another sunny, gorgeous day out there. Here's a live look from our Radisson cam in downtown Duluth.
Meanwhile, here's a quick recap of our top stories from 5 o'clock. After a night of looting and arson in Minneapolis overnight, today the city's mayor announced an all-out effort to restore peace and security in the coming days. This comes as George Floyd, an African-American man, was seen on video gasping for breath and eventually dying during an arrest on Monday night. A Minneapolis police officer knelt on his neck for almost 8 minutes. Mayor Fry has called on Minnesota's National Guard to respond, which the governor has now approved. Fry also gave the police chief the power to call on other jurisdictions for help.
Meanwhile, Sawyer County officials say there's still flooding near Hayward after a dam failed last night. Crews responded to the Mosquito Brook flowage near the town of Lenroot yesterday afternoon. The Sawyer County Sheriff says water is still sitting over Porky's Road, which is a dead end. 8 residents living in the area may still be stuck there for a couple of days.
And a fire did some major damage to a Duluth home this afternoon. The fire broke out around 2:30 in the Fairmont neighborhood. Nobody was hurt, and the cause of the fire is under investigation.
And tonight at 6, after a dismal spring and summer season due to the pandemic, Canal Park hotels took a massive hit. One reporting not a single out-of-town guest in March and April. Now they're looking at a small glimmer of hope. We'll explain coming up tonight at 6. That's your news at 5. The CBS Evening News is up next.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here at 6.